Your mom knows it. Your dad knows it. I would even argue your grandma knows it. And you might be asking, Evan, what do they know so much? Well, I can tell you one thing. They don't know what I did on August 12th, 2022. But they do know that Twitch is dying. Twitch is falling apart. It has been struggling lately. I feel like it isn't exactly the hottest take in the world. I would even argue it's a bit of a room temperature take. That it has been doing bad for just a little while. And by a little while, I'm saying like 2 or 3 years now, which is truly sad because I feel like Twitch has hit its peak within that time. Like, it started over quarantine when people were like, wait a minute. There's a purple one when they were all used to YouTube. And then they moved over to Twitch and it got really popular. But now they've started making bad decisions and they kind of stopped making the bad decisions now, but they're starting to reap the repercussions for those poor decisions they've been making in the previous years, the yesteryear, if I may. And it truly is unfortunate. One of the big signs that I saw recently that makes truly, like, I'd say it's like I wouldn't say it's the icing on the cake. It's more like the first level of the cake. So the first level, it's the first one, is when they pulled out of South Korea. I made a video about this recently, how Twitch essentially pulled all of their funding from South Korea. They unpartner from all South Korean streamers. They unaffiliated affiliates. That's how that word works. And so it was all because they had a big fee that was happening in South Korea for foreign companies to have bandwidth come into the country, and they weren't allowing it, and so they cut it. They were just like, whatever, we can't afford this anymore. And that was essentially like the initiation, the dawn of the first day, when people realized, oh shit, Twitch does not have money. And it's only kind of gone downhill from there, and it doesn't help when the general community has only banded together to make it worse in ways that you probably would recognize if I said one simple thing. Censor bar. No, you don't get it yet? Well, allow me to enlighten you. I made a few videos recently about the black bar meta. It was where people were getting buck naked, just flopping schlong on their camera, and the only thing keeping their goodies from being viewed by every 13-year-old on the website was a nice little black PNG, which eventually Twitch patched, but not after letting it go for like, I think 2 weeks maybe. Like, way too long they let that shit go. Which, of course, in turn, makes the site look like a softcore prawn website instead of a goofy, silly gamer website. But also, it kind of kills the site for advertisers. Advertisers aren't going to be like, oh, now I want to advertise my lotion on this site where this guy's dick and balls are out. No one wants to do that. And so it not only ruins the reputation of Twitch, but also it's hurting their wallets more than they're already being damaged, considering Twitch and streaming services as a whole are excruciatingly non-profitable. Like, you're losing money at the speedster's pace. Sonic the Hedgehog wishes he ran as fast as Twitch's wallet went down, because it's just constantly losing money. It's why you need multi-billion-dollar corporations to run any of these social media sites. That's why Steak runs Kick, Amazon runs Twitch. That's why we have Google on YouTube. It's because these sites are loss leaders. And that only gets worse when you realize some of the recent developments that have come out of Twitch, which are the reason I made this video today. So I was scrolling through Twitter, doing my own thing, and I'm calling it Twitter. I'm not calling it the second to last letter of the alphabet. X is not the second to last letter of the alphabet. How did I think that? Is X, Y, Z? God damn it. Anyway, I was scrolling through Elon's hell site, and I saw a post, more like 7 different posts from a bunch of people saying this. Twitch is laying off 500 staff, representing 35% of the company. They dropped 500 users because of the fact that they could simply not afford to pay them anymore. And there are a lot of elements that add to that. I don't think it's necessarily just like Twitch is losing money, so they're going to wave their flag of defeat. More like they can wave my shirt in the air if they'd like. They can just wave their flag of defeat and be like, I give up, fine, you can have it, take all my users, which is something that Kick is doing, by the way. Trainwrecks I saw was like in the replies of half the people who got fired, like, come work for me. Come work for me. And I don't know if they responded, probably went to DMs, but regardless of that, it is clearly a sign that Twitch is firing a lot of people that got hired over quarantine when they had a bunch of bloat. Every tech company had a bunch of bloat. Discord just fired 150 members. I think, like, what was it? Like Twitter fired some more people, which isn't really new. I think Elon fired like 90% of the company when he stepped through the door with the sink in its hands. But regardless, it seems like it's just a lot of companies cutting a lot of bloat that happened over quarantine. However, that's a bad sign because it just means that all these companies are doing worse than they were doing over quarantine, which to a certain extent makes sense. I mean, over quarantine, we were all indoors on our little computers or on our iPads, like every 6-year-old on the planet. But once quarantine ended, a lot of people did some pretty revolutionary things, like opening their front door or, in some occasions, touching grass, which is crazy and can cause less of a user base to be on the Purple website. And so they probably couldn't afford their employees anymore. Also, adding on all their terrible decisions and Kick taking some of the user base and a bunch of other things that just keep on going down. And the man, the myth, the legend, Dan Clancy did come forward with a statement telling us that yes, we have had to get rid of these people. He posted on Twitter saying, or actually in a blog on Twitch saying, "Today I have some incredibly difficult news to share. As you all know, we've worked hard over the last year to run our business as sustainably as possible. Unfortunately, we still have to work to do the right side." This is not helping my dyslexia when he speaks like this. "Our company and I regret having to share that we are taking a painful step to reduce our headcount by just over 500 people across Twitch. This is a very hard day. Our services exist to empower communities to create together, and every single one of you has played a vital role. But unfortunately, L ratio, leave my company." And I actually managed to cop a copy of this guy's email, Dan Clancy's email that he had sent to all of the employees throughout Twitch, not just the ones he's firing. And I gave it a once over, and I found some interesting notes. One of the big ones talking about how there are, like, all these people being fired suck, and he's going to be sending a specific email to them specifically. But I love that he said that we know you guys are friends at Twitch. I forget where he says it exactly. "I know it's important to say goodbye to your colleagues, so you'll retain access to Slack," which I assume is like their offices, "and your email until 1 p.m. PT. So they're like, all right, I know you want to say goodbye to your friends, so you have until the end of the day. Tell them goodbye now. You better. I'm gonna erase you from the planet." I also found it funny that he added in the note, where is it? "I also want to acknowledge how disappointed I was yesterday that this information leaked. I'm sorry for all the anxiety that it caused over the last several hours. Our hope was that you could all hear it from us in the morning and very quickly understand how this impacted your role." So apparently, the information that came out about all these people being fired is information some of them were learning by logging onto Twitter that day. They were logging onto Twitter and hearing that 500 people were getting fired from Twitch, and they're like, "Well, I didn't get an email. Was I fired?" And they had to sit in thought, sit in contemplation, like that one Spider-Man meme, until they got the email later that day being like, "Yeah, shoo, leave my office right now, bye." But our boy Dan Clancy, and I know I give Twitch a lot of trash, but I have to admit, Dan Clancy is one of, if not the most transparent CEO of a company I've ever seen in my life. I know that, like, Kick CEO tries to be very open and connected with their community, but this man right here, Dan Clancy, not only does he collab with creators, but just the other day, he went live after all this information released and essentially just answered questions from chat. He didn't answer curated questions or questions that he had ready, written down, or listed like an AMA. He sat down and he read chat and he answered questions and answered some pretty important information that a lot of people were kind of curious about. Their curiosity was piqued. And one of the big ones that I found interesting is when he admitted very openly that Twitch is not at all profitable.
That we've implied this before, where we say we need to run it sustainably, but I'll be blunt. We aren't profitable at this point. Amazon has been extremely supportive of Twitch, and a big thing for being sustainable over time is ensuring that we don't lose money. And that's a big part of my job, because that's going to be what makes sure we can be here for long term.
Now, I don't know who's been holding my boy Daniel at gunpoint, but he said Amazon's been very supportive of Twitch. Now, I don't know if we have different timelines going on right now in the MCU, but I feel like Amazon's kind of left Twitch out in the middle of an alleyway like it's a homeless child. I guess any child left in an alleyway would be a homeless child, but still, it seems like they just kind of estranged the fire is frozen. My fire is Oh? Anyway, yeah, It seems like Twitch has completely just been left out to dry. It's frozen again. I can see it in my reflection. But what really sucks is I've been seeing some people talk about the fact that Amazon Prime, like Prime, is one of the few things that Twitch has as like a shining star above other streaming sites. It's one of the few things that keeps people on it in favor of other sites, because Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, allows you to subscribe for free to streamers. It's essentially taking money from Amazon for free, which is awesome. But in the post, he is asked if Prime will stay, and the answer he gives is disconcerting at most. I'll just play it for you really quickly.
Prime is a critical program for many streamers. We've already been looking across the company in terms of how to set us up for the long term. I think we will continue to evolve different aspects of our program, because part of what I'm trying to do is get us into a framework that can live over a long time.
And no, my dear viewer, that was not your computer screen glitching. That was live footage of Daniel Clancy trying to leave this reality and try and jump to one where Twitch actually is recognized by Amazon as its child. At least that's what I saw. His camera was bugging out. But luckily, it does seem like he wants to keep Prime. However, I have a feeling they're definitely going to not keep it in the state that it's in. Because it doesn't seem like answer like Prime's going to be safe. No one's going to harm it. It seems more like we want to keep Prime, but it might not be Prime anymore. And my thoughts are they're probably just going to make it so instead of being able to free sub, I've seen everyone else think the same thing, so I'm not and the only one coming up with this. But I have a feeling they're going to introduce like Prime as a way to get subs at a like certain amount of money off instead of getting it for free, which isn't worth it and will probably move people off the site. But regardless, at least it's staying. But of course, that leads the most important question of them all, and that is Twitch gonna die? The title of this video, where the hell's Twitch going? And while I can't tell you where it's going or where it's come from, Cotton Eye Joe, that's not the right lyrics. But regardless, I can tell you that hopefully Twitch is not going anywhere. Because Dan Clancy said in the stream as well, this.
Gonna just ask, is Twitch currently at risk of getting the axe by Amazon? And the answer is emphatically no, not at all.
You love to hear it, and I'm not going to play the rest of it because he just kind of re-explains what he was saying. But yeah, Twitch is hopefully not going anywhere for the time being. However, if it continues to be unprofitable, we might see it hit the grave, which would be unfortunate. But hopefully, Twitch somehow gets its chutzpah up and doesn't get exploded by Amazon. Who knows, though? They sell pee in bottles. But I appreciate you guys being here, though. I'm probably going to be hopping out of here for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe to me, this channel you're viewing right now, if you haven't already, and maybe hit the like button so you can catch me on your homepage more often. And I think that's about it for now. I don't think there's any more that's going to come from this for the time being. I hope. I know that like every other YouTuber and their grandmother's already talked about this, so I hope I was worth watching. If you made it to the end, I appreciate it so much, but I am going to hit the road. Thank you guys. As I said, subscribe, please, and I'll catch you next time. So as always, adios, arrivederci, goodbye, good night, and until Twitch messes up again.